Welcome back to Data Science for Drug Discovery, Health, and Translational Medicine. In this video, we talk about information-based integrative drug discovery. Recall in the previous video, we introduced and discussed 4 drug discovery paradigms, which correspond to some extent to the historical development and evolution of drug discovery science in history. So the integrative drug discovery paradigm is the most recent development, and as the name implies, it integrates, it really incorporates all of the previous learnings and paradigms, and it reflects the idea to some extent that we know that there's no simple solution to drug discovery. Drug discovery is not solvable by a completely reductionist approach, and we need to incorporate data from various sources and integrate it. This very much corresponds with data science, and so it's particularly of interest in this course. New paradigms for disease treatment are additional motivations and explanations for our embrace of the integrative drug discovery paradigm. Complex biological networks, beyond the lock and key concept of drug action to understanding complex disease states, otherwise known as multimorbidity, multiple involvement of targets and pathways, and drug treatment, including side effects. Polypharmacology, a word which means the multiple action of a particular compound, drug compound, against multiple drug targets, therefore having multiple effects, whether desired or undesired. Drug repurposing, finding new applications of safe, well-established drugs, including those available as cheap generics. It is understood that drugs do not have a single effect, and this can be put to good therapeutic use by a careful study. Personalized and precision medicine, use of possibly multiple drugs in a targeted fashion that suits individual phenotypes and genotypes and avoids potential rare but serious side effects. There's a lot in that sentence and definition. Recall or note that genotypes means our genes, our genetics. Phenotypes refers to observable phenomenon. And so precision and personalized medicine means to some extent developing therapies which are specific to a particular individual or groups of individuals defined in various ways. So these are more complex ways of developing therapies, but potentially with great advantages. For example, a drug may be very good for a certain type of person, but not good for others. So by studying things with sufficient specificity, we can deliver those good therapies to those who can use them. If the paradigm is integrative, that means integration of multiple kinds of data from multiple sources. That means that we need to understand to a sufficient extent these sources of data and these sub-disciplines. So these are informatics disciplines related to drug discovery, which therefore need to be integrated. Bioinformatics, the representation and use of biomolecular information such as proteins, genes, and biological pathways. So large area in itself, and as usual in this course, it can be a bit intimidating to see how much information is related, but I remind you that you don't have to master any of these, but you do need to understand what they are sufficiently to handle some of the data. Cheminformatics, the representation and use of chemical information, which is compounds and drugs and their interactions with proteins typically. Biomedical informatics, the representation and use of clinical information, meaning data that relates to the treatment of patients in some clinical setting, a hospital, doctor's office, a laboratory. Next, the subdiscipline, which is computation and data. So we have computer science, we have informatics, we have these fields which are which need to be integrated into our new paradigm. We are seeing these terms come up which reflect this new thinking, integrative terms like systems, chemical biology, systems biology, translational medicine, and they are mapping onto informatics disciplines. So there is a growing understanding that this is the paradigm which is most promising in drug discovery. As you might guess, there's a problem with saying that we're going to integrate all the relevant data about our research objective in integrative drug discovery, and that problem is there's a lot of data. We have information overload, the so-called data deluge problem, and here are some numbers to just illustrate that. A protein of particular interest to drug discovery now is called PPAR gamma. Full name is peroxisome proliferator activated receptor gamma, and it's involved in carbohydrate metabolism or sugar metabolism, and so it's highly relevant to metabolic disease such as diabetes. However, if you are researching this protein, there are over 13,000 papers on that protein in PubMed, an NIH resource. So good luck reading that number of papers. If you're interested in doing drug research, then you need to know about the available compounds and tests on those compounds. And so just some numbers to describe how much data is available. 93 million compounds, 1.2 million bioassays, which means biological tests on those compounds against some potential drug target. There are millions of sequences and proteins, hundreds of thousands of proteins in the UniParc and UniProt resources. There are 3D structures for about 125,000 proteins. Going back to PubMed, 26 million life science publications, growing at 1 million per year roughly. So a huge amount of data and knowledge is being generated. How do we integrate that effectively and bring that knowledge to bear rationally on a drug discovery project? Not easy, but this is our task, and this is why data science has a lot to offer. So here are our take-home messages. That is that effective drug discovery now requires understanding of the complexities of disease and the complex ways drugs interact system-wide in the body. To do this requires informatics to be at the core of the drug discovery process. One person or group can't amass all the knowledge needed to make good decisions. Computational disciplines such as bioinformatics, cheminformatics, and biomedical informatics have emerged over the last few decades. These provide a toolbox for integrative approaches. So we're integrating data, we're integrating subdisciplines, we're integrating persons who specialize in these subdisciplines, and we're integrating these across a wide range of specialties and trying to generate hypotheses and discoveries in drug discovery. And it seems to be working, so it's highly promising. Until next time.